Good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome to the Positional Sports Talk Show Post, live streaming on Facebook Live and our Positional Sports YouTube channel. We are a sports talk show made for the fans, from the perspective of fans, presented by lifelong sports fans. We will provide our opinions and positions on the hottest topics in sports. My name is Big Reg, and I'm joined this evening by my partners in crime. What's going on, Johnny? Back in the building as usual.
Yes, sir. Feeling amazing, doing amazing, hoping to have an amazing show. How's everybody else doing?
Are we ready to rock and roll? Ready to rock and roll. Professor Jay's in the building. What's going on, Professor?
What's going on out there, y'all? It is hot, but I'm gonna bring the fire to you. Praise God, Lord.
Praise the Lord. Absolutely, absolutely. We got my brother J3. What's going on, J3? How you feeling?
Wake up, wake up, wake up. It's showtime. Let's do this.
And back by popular demand, our frequent contributor, we got Sense in the building. What's going on, Sense?
What it do, baby? Thank you guys for having me. Ready to get it going. Let's go.
Let's do this. Let's do this. Now, this evening, we will discuss the evolving college football conference's plans for this season. And unfortunately, it's not looking very good, fellas. We will talk about the NBA's final playoff seeding push. We got to talk about Darius Guice and his release from the Washington football team. Hit a little NHL, plus some other topics that caught our eye, and of course, our final post of the evening. So please sit back, relax, enjoy Post on the Positional Sports YouTube channel and Facebook Live. All right, fellas, y'all see I got my black shirt on today.
I see it.
I don't break it out too often, but, today was a sad day. Today was the real beginning of the end to the college football season.
You're not surprised, are you? You're not surprised, are you?
No, I was not surprised. We've been calling this since March.
Okay.
But get that final big Power 5 conference say we out. I mean, that was huge.
I'm about to lower the flag, baby. I'm about to lower the flag. I'm about to lower the flag.
And last week when we got off the show, we were talking about it. And, UConn came out and said they was not going to play this season. Everybody said, UConn's an independent. Matter of fact, UConn one of the few Division I football championship series teams that actually lose money playing football. So nobody played.
Nobody really paid them any attention.
You got that right. They sure didn't.
Nah.
But they still try to make a little bit of noise.
Absolutely.
That was the problem.
You back with it? Okay.
They came out Saturday and said it Sunday. You had all the top conferences in the Power 5 having an emergency meeting with the commissioners, the chancellors, and school presidents, trying to figure out if they can play football. Now, the first thing that came across my mind is you release schedules on Wednesday, and now Sunday you're talking about you're not going to play?
Right.
So did that come across a little funny to any of y'all?
Not really, because they finally probably paid attention to the damn red map that's been on for the last 5 months.
Yeah, they had a host of doctors and physicians and scientists come out to tell them it might not be a great idea.
Killing me.
Long-awaited decision, but I'm glad they finally came to it. They made the right decision at the end of the day.
Yeah, I agree.
But you heard it here first.
Oh, man.
Absolutely.
You said it a long time ago.
Facts.
J3 said there would be no college sports in March.
Adamantly said it.
Yeah.
Now we're gonna have to wait maybe
in his
until
match too.
for football.
So what seems to be the impetus of this decision for the Big Ten to announce this afternoon that they were postponing all fall sports, followed by an hour and a half later, the Pac 12 not only postponing all fall sports, they said they were postponing all sports until January at the earliest. That includes basketball as well. They say that there's been more evidence out there about possible heart conditions that people are having after they've actually recovered from contracting COVID.
Mm.
The condition is called myocarditis. It's actually a rare heart condition that is brought on by getting a virus. It basically infects the heart muscle.
Wow.
And if undiagnosed and untreated, can cause severe heart problems and sudden death.
Mm.
So just imagine someone who is asymptomatic, has the disease but doesn't know they're sick, develops this heart condition, but they an athlete, so they pushing through. You know how you are, especially 18 to 22, you think you're invincible anyway. So, you know, oh, I'm just a little tired, a little sluggish, I'm going to push through. You could actually drop dead.
Right.
That's
Right.
scary.
You're literally in the midst of having heart failure. Right.
Mhm.
Yeah. And having a massive heart attack with a weakened heart muscle. And the MAC commissioner said he heard from his doctors, and his doctors was concerned about that. And his doctors unanimously said, y'all shouldn't play any sports this fall, especially until we know more about this heart situation. But then he talked to a University of Indiana's offensive lineman, a young man who was just a freshman at Indiana, who had been in school, getting prepared for the upcoming season, got COVID, got sick. He's actually suffering from the condition now. And the commissioner of MAC said after talking with her and hearing what he's going through and the fact that he literally almost died, that changed his mind. And he said, we got to shut this down.
And that sounds real familiar. Didn't Dr. Fauci say that a couple months ago? Or was that?
He did.
Is my memory just fading in and out? Because I could have sworn he did.
Right. He did.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what happens? Everything's full steam ahead until somebody really gets sick. That's another thing we said way back. How much is enough? Does it take somebody to get extremely sick where they have to be on a ventilator, or does somebody have to die for the people to say, let's rethink this?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean,
Yes, fellas, I just still don't get it why people are still acting like that this virus does not exist.
Like
They're
it's not
still
real.
trying to live life like everything is normal, and that the people that want to protect the greater society are the ones that hate sports, don't want it to go on. But these are some Dr. Fauci, one of the biggest baseball fans. And if you look across the whole board, the people that don't want the sports actually think life is more important than sports. Think about it.
yeah, I think that their own enjoyment and their pleasure is more important than the athletes who are providing it. Because let's be real.
Selfish.
Who plays college football? What's the majority ethnic group in college football?
Black and brown.
They look like us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So they basically treating us like workhorses, like pressing us, like, oh, they're strong, they're athletic, they can endure it, they can. I mean, even listening to the commander in tweets comments saying, oh, they're of peak physical condition, and they can.
Now, who that sound like? Jimmy the Greek? Y'all remember Jimmy the Greek?
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Yeah, remember them comments he made?
Yep.
Yeah.
expendable, and they don't really care about you. 7-Eleven has more safety rules implemented within their facility when I'm out to get a quarter-pound hot dog and a bottle of water than the University of Oregon. Something is wrong. Something is wrong. I
No, it's
don't
not.
trust these people.
You already know. It's
Right,
about the money,
right.
bro.
But
It's
it's
all
not.
about the money.
But all they had to do, everyone had to do, was just put on their mask. But they made it seem like you asking them to give up a kidney or something. All you gotta do is put on your mask, wash your hands, keep your distance, and we could have had a college football season. We could have had. We wouldn't be having all of these problems now had you did what Dr. Fauci advised that you do, even when this broke out back in March. All you had to do was wear your mask, wash your hands, keep your distance.
Well, unfortunately, the horse is out the barn, or the genie's out the bottle. I don't care how you want to talk. In this country, the virus is so widespread and through so many communities, and I don't want to get political, so I'm going to just state this and I'm going to get off of this. The only way now for us to flatten the curve and get this virus somewhat handled until we come up with a actual viable vaccine that's safe and people trust is the country's going to have to shut down again.
Yep. Agreed.
I think it'll have to shut down for anywhere from a month to a month and a half. Complete shutdown. Everybody's at home. You only leave the house to go to the grocery store and to get drugs and come back home. And then we can flatten everything and then do the proper tracing and all that. But I don't think too many people have the stomach to do that these days. And I'm going to get off that soapbox. So the question in college football is Power 5, Big 10, Power 5, Pac-12. They out. Did y'all hear what Nebraska said?
Please touch on that, please.
Like, they don't even matter. Like really,
They've been in the Big 10 for 5 minutes, and they acting like they bossing somebody. Ain't been good in 15 years.
Right, 20.
There's no time in a conference to play for. I don't know who's going to take you.
Right, exactly.
They ain't going nowhere because once the Big 10 says, okay, you can go ahead and play whoever you want to play this year, just send us our $55 million back that we gave you last year from the Big 10 TV contract, and you can go do what you want to do.
Yeah, that ain't gonna happen.
That's not gonna refund that TV money.
And we're going to kick you out the conference and charge you a fee for leaving. Yeah, that'll shut all that down.
Mm-hmm.
So, what's the ACC, the Big 12, and the SEC going to do?
What can they do? I mean, conference games has already been established that they were going to play it, but now with the two of the 5 being out, I mean, you got to ask yourself, is it a point now to even continue on? I mean, it's inevitable that this season is going to be shut down anyway, as J3 said many times. So it's just only a matter of time.
So you think the other conferences will follow suit? Because it sounds like the SEC might be trying to hold out to the very last minute. And then did y'all see that the ACC's health panel put out a statement saying that they believe that football can be played safely this fall? It'll be hard. This is their exact words. It'll be hard. It'll be very, very hard to play a contact sports and to keep everybody safe. But you can't keep everybody safe anyway. There's injuries in football, so this is just another thing you're going to have to deal with, the possibility of, somebody catching it, getting sick. And somebody might die, but hey.
And did you hear what Mac Brown said? Mac Brown said it'd be a shame if they couldn't play football this year. Just don't get it, man. They need
to let it go.
It's not just Mac Brown. Did you see the Big 10 coaches come out and try to bully the decision yesterday?
Yeah, absolutely. And one of them is one of my favorites, but I can't agree with him on that.
Got the nerve to say the players are safer here on campus with us. than they are at home.
So he
Really?
can, yeah, so he can justify them being on the field. Absolutely,
Yeah.
you can't
And
be on
his
the field if they
paycheck.
not right. He
And
can't.
his paycheck.
They can't be on the field if they not in the in the school environment. So of course he wants them right there up under him. That's just justification. Duh.
You also can't threaten them if they're not on campus.
Right.
Yeah, and I get on my boy Nick. Yeah, y'all know I'm a Bama fan, but even Nick was talking out of his mouth a little sideways. Like, really, Nick?
I had to give him
He
a
brought
side
out
eye
his
on that one.
statistics. We only have a 2% positivity rate. Yeah, that's 2% too much, Nick. And
Right.
y'all haven't started hitting yet. All y'all doing is running, lifting weights, and everybody's 6 feet apart. What happens when you start hitting?
Right. I
Again,
hear you, Big Reg, but you got some Alabama players that's joining that coalition that says they want to play. So it's not just Nick that want to get out on the football field.
those are the ones that's trying to make a name for themselves so they can go to the next level. Plain and simple.
Exactly.
Plain and
True.
simple. But
True.
they still don't understand that if they catch the COVID and they die, it ain't gonna matter because you ain't gonna be on the field no more. I mean, come on, man, really?
And see, the whole
come
entire
on.
situation is a no-brainer. I'm sorry, Big Reg. Go ahead.
Nah, you good. I mean, when they haven't been listening to 18 to 22-year-olds all this time. Now all of a sudden they're gonna start listening to them because they want to play.
Really?
Because they've been asking for a lot of consideration over the years. You're absolutely right. But at this point, it's a slap in the face. I don't understand. It's not like they're not privy to information that we also have. Dr. Fauci, when he addresses people, he addresses everybody. They're in a lot of these SEC schools are in these southern states where a lot of the numbers are inflated. So I just don't get it. It's like you're openly saying, we don't care. We're going to give you a bunch of bull crap that, yeah, it's dangerous as I don't know what, but you'll be okay. But you're not on the football field. You're not practicing. You're not putting on a helmet. You're not at these at the diners the kids go to, or so many other things that could go awry. I just don't understand. I just don't understand why there isn't a uproar from the people, from some of these parents, different teachers at the school, somebody. I don't get it at all. It needs to be governed. It needs to be shut down because at this point, if you allow these outbreaks to happen on these campuses through these kids, it will turn and affect everybody in these states, countries, communities, areas. This is getting bigger than football, sports, or whatever you want to look at, however you want to look at it. I just don't understand. And it almost makes me lose
Makes
faith.
too much sense, Johnny.
Yeah.
I know over that money. I know what's for them.
I'm with you, Johnny. I'm with you. I mean, let's be real. There's a whole bunch of those parents of players on those big-time football teams that their kids are the lottery ticket and their tickets out of their situation.
I was just about to allude to that. Like they
want them to play at all costs.
Didn't I just say that?
Yeah. So
Yeah, you good?
Did I miss something?
Nah, it's nothing. He just reiterating your point that you made.
Man. It's a shame. It's crazy. And then the one thing I did agree with Nick on about, he was like, the question shouldn't be whether or not we can play football, because the chances are the guys aren't going to get the virus playing football. The guys are going to get the virus being other places on campus. And when the students come back, that's the problem. So the question is, should we be playing football? He said the question is, should they be even bringing students back to school, period? I said, now, Nick, you stepping on some shoes there, talking about closing down schools.
Yeah, but he ain't worried about the paycheck. He got paper stacked up already. He ain't worried about that.
That's an underestimate. That man, the house was paid for by the boosters. His vacation lake house is paid for, and he making $8-9 million a year. Yeah, Nick don't need another dime in Tuscaloosa.
He's set for life 2 times over.
Yeah, Marcus brought up a great point that this is now going to affect the NFL upcoming draft and the 2021 season, because you're going to have a bunch of players who don't play this year. Some of them are going to be opting out. because they say they're going to try to play in the spring, which I think is a joke. Because in order to play in the spring, you got to practice in January and February, which is top flu season. So you got flu season with coronavirus. How's that going to work out? So,
and then that second wave, don't forget that they're talking about. It's
exactly.
still like looming.
Exactly.
And the players are grumbling about that because they don't want to play spring football, and some of them that are getting ready for the draft, or if they play spring football, they got to turn right back around and get ready for fall football. So they don't like that idea either.
I'm with you.
But as an athlete, you're supposed to be ready to perform anyway. So it shouldn't matter if you're playing in the fall or the spring or the summer. You should be ready to hit the pads.
What you say?
Yeah, but I think they're talking about the wear and tear
They
on your body.
be
Playing football from, let's say they start a football season in February and play football February, March, and have a playoff in April, and then turn right back around and supposed to be in fall football camp in July.
And your point being?
The wear and tear on the body. The body's not made to play football in the first place. When you're playing big-time football, and then you're going to ask college athletes that aren't getting paid to play 2 full football seasons in one year, the health ramifications to that? Come on,
obviously, they're not worried about their health because they're trying to play in the COVID. So if they got to play all the way all year round, it shouldn't matter.
That's why I say it's not that. It's messing up whatever plans that they had during that time that they don't want to give up.
Right.
Well,
Look,
I just hope that it gets figured out. So,
safely.
Last thing on this, each one of y'all, let me know if y'all think we're going to have any college football at all. J3, you don't need to answer. We already know your answer. Professor, is the ACC, the SEC, or the Big 12 going to try to push ahead and actually start a season?
Nope. It's going to be no football. No football.
What you think, Sense?
I think the SEC is going to hold on for dear life, but no football.
Johnny, we going to have any college football at all?
Somebody will attempt, but their season will end short.
Nebraska.
Intramurals.
It might be Ole Miss too.
Last point on this before we move on. There's a little bit of backstory saying that the Players Coalition, because I don't know if y'all saw the different Pac-12 coalition and the Big Coalition over the weekend, they all combined and now they're the Power 5 coalition.
Right.
That a bunch of chancellors and presidents are worried about that and dealing with this and them trying to unionize and coming to the table. So that's going to be a story we're going to have to keep track of in the future.
Exactly.
Because if they stay together and do their thing, this will be their time that they can actually get paid. Congress just passed a bill today, not Congress, the Supreme Court ruled that colleges can expand player privileges to athletes, including pay today. That came down to the Supreme Court case.
It's about time. It's about time.
Yeah, that's great.
They deserve it.
Mm-hmm.
So that it definitely got some changes coming on. All right, fellas. The NBA bubble. We almost done with this 8-game resumption of the season period.
Put the Wizards out of their misery.
Oh, thank goodness. Thank goodness. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Go ahead, J3. Go ahead, J3.
I was like, why even play?
They had to.
Oh,
They
man.
had to.
My man Thomas Bryant was looking all right, and Rui Hachimura.
Yeah, it was good experience
I'll
for
give you
them.
that. Hachimura was looking solid. I'll give you that.
It's good experience for them, but they weren't trying to win. As soon as your boy said he not coming, that's like, oh, they're trying to get that lottery spot.
Yeah, exactly.
So it seems like the Eastern Conference is pretty set.
Mm-hmm.
you got the first 3 seeds. The Bucks are number 1, Raptors number 2, Celtics look pretty much solid for number 3. But then you got those 4 through 6 spots look a little interesting. You got the Miami Heat, the Indiana Pacers, and the 76ers battling out for 4 through 6. I mean,
They don't really matter.
Hey, don't sleep on the Heat. I keep telling y'all, don't sleep on the Heat.
They don't really
Don't sleep on the Heat.
You can talk about them, but they don't really matter.
You right.
what y'all think Joel Embiid's going to do now that his boy Ben Simmons is hurt again?
And put himself on the market if he's smart.
He gonna let his Twitter fingers do the talking.
Wow.
I actually think Joel Embiid, and I don't want to necessarily he likes the city, but I think he's one that's down for the cause, meaning he'll go through the ups and downs if everybody's doing what's necessarily important to succeed. I think his issues with Ben Simmons outweigh his actual injuries. I think the way Ben Simmons also plays basketball kind of throws Joel Embiid off. He doesn't space the floor. He's not a jump shooter. It's always been something people have consistently knocked him about. And since you're the majority ball handler and you don't space the floor, you make it difficult for a guy like like Joel Embiid, 6'11", 7-footer, big body that kind of bangs around the free throw 10 to 12-foot area. Their games at times actually clash when it comes to the playoffs and make every time you have the ball important. So it may be good for the Sixers as an organization to look for a point guard that's also pass first, but that can take a jumper. Ben Simmons has to do something about his game. He has to.
Doesn't that sound like Rondo when he was with the Celtics?
Rondo had it, but Rondo moved the ball around. He can set up the offense.
He ain't had no threat when it come to shooting, though. He was no threat at all.
He didn't have a threat, but he had Paul Pierce out there. You got KG, and you got a well-moving offense. With Ben Simmons, I love the way he played basketball. He attacks the basket. He's a physical presence. But when it comes to the playoffs, you have to space the floor. You and Embiid can't be right beside each other.
But see, Johnny, that's not the players. I think that's the coaching. If a right coach would know how to put those players in their right places.
Coach ain't on the court.
What you say?
The coach ain't on the court.
You calling the plays?
The coach can draw up the coach can know. A good coach knows how to put the pieces in place.
You know damn well the people ain't paying attention to their coach. They just doing what they want to do out there.
I'm telling you, get Brett Brown out of there, it'll be a different story in Philly. Trust me.
You might be right.
I would like to see that. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Johnny.
I would love to see that, but for somebody that's offensively explosive as Ben, and you can not coaching as well, you got to shoot the basketball a little bit. The game is too predicated right now on exposing weaknesses. Come the playoffs time, I don't need to run out there when Ben Simmons is above the three-point line because he's not going to shoot. So I'm just going to stick around in passing lanes, 6'10", 6'11", whoever's checking them, because you can't put a small guard on Ben Simmons. You have to put somebody that's about at least 6'6", 6'7". If they don't have to run out to the three-point line to run him off the three-point line or put a hand in his face, they can sit back and play the passing lane, stretch those long arms out, and help on defense and double down on Embiid. He creates the weakness.
Unfortunately, now he's a non-factor because he's done for the season.
What they need to do is get Ben Simmons a sports psychologist, because the man has a mental block.
Right.
Him shooting is a mental block. No, I'm serious.
He could actually shoot. In practice,
they've shown him plenty of times in gyms with nobody around, hitting three-pointers, shooting 18, 20-foot jump shots, draining them. He gets in a game and he just won't do it.
Get that same coach that helped Markelle Fultz out.
Yeah, that's a mental thing.
That's a good one. That's a good one, Sam. You're right.
Yep.
So I mean that's crazy. All right, so let's talk about the Western Conference. Now the Western Conference is a lot more interesting.
Mm.
Western
I don't
Conference
Yeah.
think
got some
Portland like it.
things
Hey, you
going
see the way
on.
these Suns been balling?
The
Ooh,
Phoenix
yes.
Suns are the hottest team in the
Mm.
bubble. 6-0, beating
I've been
everybody.
7.
Devin Booker been putting it on people.
He a beast.
Mhm.
Hey,
He is a
Yeah.
beast.
Yeah, I mean, the way that these playing stipulations are set up, I mean, Phoenix actually has a good chance to actually get that 8th seed. I mean, because San Antonio won, Portland plays Dallas
They
later
playing
on.
right now.
Yeah, so I
mhm.
don't know if Luca and Porzingis have a good game and show out, that might hurt Portland's chances.
Luca is a beast. God.
Yes, he
Exactly,
Oh,
is.
Luca might
He's
put an
amazing.
easy 30
He's
plus.
amazing.
So yeah, I don't know. Portland's spot in the playoffs ain't for certain.
yeah. I feel bad for Memphis. I think Memphis would have held on to that 8th spot, and right now they still are in the 8th spot. But I mean, when Jaren Jackson Jr. went down with that injury, I think
And
that
they
hurt
just
them real bad.
and they just
I
lost
think
to Boston too.
I'm about to say I
So,
thought they were knocked out of contention last night. I may be wrong.
I think they played Boston today and they were losing last I checked. So I think they
Yeah, I think Boston, yeah, they up by 20. They're going to lose.
Damn.
It's
mhm.
34 seconds left in the fourth.
So
They down.
Memphis might get knocked out.
I'm
So
Yep.
they were
disappointed in Zion. Very disappointed in Zion.
okay. Let's go ahead and have the conversation. We've been doing it all week on the phone. Let's talk about Zion and the issue.
His weight.
Mm.
His weight.
my,
Playing minutes.
right. All of the
Lack of
above.
conditioning.
Right. Exactly. My frustration with Zion, it just recently kind of popped up. I was riding the wave with him. I was like, he just got off injury. Give him time. He'll get his body together. Blah, blah, blah. I was making excuse after excuse after excuse. When he returned to the bubble, overweight, that's when he proved a lot of his critics wrong. I mean, excuse me, a lot of his critics right. How
Mhm.
dare you return to the bubble 10, visibly 10, 12 pounds overweight when a mellow drops 10 pounds?
Yeah,
The
Melo's
center,
looking good.
it's a
Hey.
Harden drop pounds. Hmm.
you got a couple of players who knew what it was. Look, we just were through an alley oop. I mean, not calling coronavirus a pleasurable situation, but we was put in a situation where we have to step away from the game. We have a little bit of time. If you gym at your house, you can put some work in, eat right, do what you need to do, and return back to the bubble when the season started and start to rip stuff up. Clearly, he went home and he ripped stuff up. He ripped up the Pizza Hut box. He ripped over. He got some Litos pizzas sent to him via UPS overnight. He did. You can't do that. You cannot do that. You have to protect your body. You are an athlete. This is how you get paid, bro. Your
Mhm.
body is what gets you paid. And all that weight coming down on those knees and those joints, like our co-host Ed said, he can't continue to do that for 8 to 10 years. It's not going to work.
And,
Barkley
and
did
maybe
it.
yeah, and maybe the Pelicans knew something that we didn't, which is why they limited his minutes
That's a good point.
because of the whole weight issue.
Shaq did it.
When he came back initially, right before they suspended the season, he was up to about what 10, 15, 20 minutes a game.
Mm-hmm.
That first game he got back, what he hit like 3, 4, 5 threes. He was playing. So the
Yep.
minute he got some time to himself, he threw it all out the window.
Let, I'm gonna defend Zion a little bit.
It figures.
Let's remember, he's 19, getting ready to turn 20.
He's a kid. He's a kid.
How did
Yep.
you eat when you were 19 and 20?
Shit.
Like I ain't had the metabolism, man.
And you got all the money in the world to buy
This is
whatever you
true.
want.
Oh my
This
goodness.
is true. No doubt about it. So I hope it's a warning shot for him. I'm not knocking him. I think his skill level, his ability has the ability to take him to the stars. The man is ridiculously athletically gifted.
Hmm.
You can't name 5 to 10 guys that you've seen with his freakish athletic ability. But nonetheless, he has to realize that he has one of them body shapes that if I'm not on top of it, it will get on top of me. He's not alone. I'm the same way. If I'm not on top of my weight, I will look extra husky in 10 to 20 days.
Yeah. I ain't cutting them no slack because, when we were 18 and 19 years old, we weren't world-class athletes coming out of high school and coming out of Duke going into the NBA. So his team needs to speak to him about a nutritionist and being able to change the way he eats, because he's going to not have a very long career, because that wear and tear on his knees, his feet, all that stuff is going to come back and bite him. I mean, we can go through a long list of NBA legends, people we've debated about that don't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame because of injuries. We don't want this young man to go down that same path. So somebody need to get in his ear right now and get him down to that like chiseled Charles Barkley type frame when he was beasting and doing his thing, because they're about the same height. You know, and if he gets that chiseled body, man, he could be even more dominant than he is now. So I'm rooting for them to get the man a nutritionist, a chef, somebody that can walk with him and smack his hand when he's trying to get a Snickers or something, because I think he could be that next great player where we'll be arguing that he's the best player in the league.
It reminds me of Big Baby. It reminds me of Big Baby that played for the Celtics.
Yeah.
Right. He has so much potential, too. That's a good comp right there.
Yeah.
Big Baby was never that much of an athlete.
But
nowhere
but he could move though. He could have been better than he was had he
I agree.
Snickers and stuff and them snack cakes.
I agree, but he wasn't Zion.
When it's all said and done, I think Zion is in the perfect situation. He's got like the right, people around him and the right core group like to build with. And I think the Pelicans will go far, like in the years to come.
All he need to do is do some more cardio. That's what he hurting on. He need to do
what
some
he
more
needs
cardio.
to do, and his management team and the New Orleans Pelicans need to make him hire a chef. Between his Jordan money and his money that he's gotten from the Pelicans, here's your new chef. You got to pay him $150,000 a year. Write the man a check, and he will cook all your meals for you.
Yeah,
period.
Jerome said, "Just get him some Magic City wings."
Yeah, I just told him he's trying to derail the show.
The sweet leaf special.
Don't forget the gumbo sauce.
Right. All right, before we get off of this NBA, we got to talk about the two up at the top of the West. I don't know about the Lakers, man. The Lakers looking old. They got nobody can make an outside shot.
Can I speak? Can I speak?
And the Clippers are fully loaded now. They haven't played together.
Can I speak?
But they got the beast back in the bubble. So come on, Sets. Go ahead.
Okay. All right.
Talk about the crybaby first.
First to admit that the Lakers have not been firing on all cylinders. And yes, we got a lot to work on.
That's an understatement.
However, so are the Clippers. I mean, do the Clippers have a good record in the bubble? No. They lost to the Suns. They've lost to the Nets. Who else? They lost to us. But my issue is
when you get on the payroll.
Look, man.
They got burgundy going on.
Do y'all give Big Ed this brief with the Steelers?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Oh, absolutely.
Anyway, I feel like it's really no difference, but why is more attention being put on the Lakers' struggles than the Clippers?
I think it's very simple. The Lakers are trying to win. The Clippers all season haven't cared about winning in the regular season. They only care about winning in the playoffs. And the Clippers was down two of their top players. One man had the Magic City wing trip. He had to miss a couple of games. And Montrezl Harrell just got back to the bubble. So he missed all the games. But he will be back for the playoffs.
That's what they
Both
say.
of those are the two top candidates for sixth man of the year in the NBA on the same team.
Hear it all the time. Oh, Montrez and Lou. Oh, they're vying for 6th man of the year. Oh, they're so deep. They're such a complete team. I mean, all that don't matter come playoff time. It's all about who wants it the most. And I think LeBron is going to prove all his naysayers wrong, be stout, win championship number 4, and bring number 17 to the Lakers.
Hold on. I got some one follow-up question. Because nobody's questioning LeBron. You can't tell me you ain't got no concerns about AD disappearing in the fourth quarter?
I think AD will step up when they count. I mean, all right. Are we okay? You already locked up the number 1 seed. Are you really taking the rest of these games seriously? You're locked in on the playoffs. You already locked up your spot. You already locked up your spot. Okay, like I'm really going to go full out for these remaining games, regular season games.
I can feel that. I feel that to a degree. I wouldn't trust LeBron if he's locked up a playoff. All veterans. I wouldn't trust none of these guys. You know they maxing and relaxing. So to a degree, I can understand that a bit. I can. And he's not necessarily as a Harden where you still got it in the tank and there's fuel in the fire trying to prove points to people. But for LeBron, I could give him this pass. I don't necessarily agree that he should do it.
No pass. No pass.
Hell no.
Would you give Jordan a pass since people want to make all these comparisons? Anybody can
why you gonna bring up Jordan, man? Why you gonna bring up Jordan, man?
Wow.
He took a whole year off.
Silence.
Look, because we're talking about this 8-game playoff tournament. You know, we're not talking
the number 1 seed. So
they locked up the number 1 seed. Exactly. But they don't necessarily look like they're playing together well, to me.
Nope.
I think you're still trying to work in JR and everyone else. You're still trying to get a bit of a rhythm going. And matter of fact, last night during the game,
yeah, that's what he said. That's my idea.
God. Look, LeBron
had a jumper
when everybody else playing checkers. He's trying to figure out who he's going to close with, who's going to be in that lineup. He's testing folks out. That's why he's not getting it. Like,
and that's a problem.
You 70 games in and you still testing stuff out?
Right.
No, testing folks out, testing who like on the line, like who on his team he can like count on, like to close with.
Isn't that what practice is for? Isn't that what practice is for?
But what good is practice? I think I would take it in a real game situation other than practice.
Not a game.
How you perform in under these conditions. Practice.
Let me show you.
I know what you're going to do in practice because you ain't got that pressure on you. But when the pressure's on you in an actual game, I know what you're going to do, and I know you're going to come through.
Want me to show you what they're going to do?
7:43 p.m. Tuesday, August 11th.
Make a note of it.
Remember that.
Yes, sir.
Once they bring home number 17,
okay,
I'm come right back. I'm like, yeah, J3.
Who can you really rely on though?
The Lakers issue. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Lakers issue is they play too much. LeBron it can be ball dominant. He moves the basketball, but he can be very ball dominant. Every LeBron team plays a lot of one-on-one ball. If I was to ever give the Clippers an edge, is they move the basketball. The Mavericks move the basketball. Portland actually plays one-on-one ball. They play a little one-on-one ball. They can move the basketball a little bit, but it's generally in Dame's hands. He's looking for CJ coming off a pick. If that don't work, I'm shooting from the logo. That's Portland Trailblazers basketball. But the Clippers move the basketball. That's the only scary thing in that mixed match because I do believe it'll be the Lakers and the Clippers in Western Conference Finals.
Right.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm.
The Lakers better hope Portland doesn't get that 8th seed.
They not.
That would be a hard matchup for the first round for that team.
I think Phoenix gonna make it.
They got healthy.
They got to build confidence to get ready to be able to make this run. And unless AD is beasting and showing up in the fourth quarter, Lakers got problems.
Playoffs are a different picture, fellas. That's all I'm gonna say.
And AD never proved anything in the playoffs.
I was getting ready to say he's gonna be just like Dwight Howard.
Playoffs that one time.
Just like Dwight Howard.
Exactly.
Nowhere to be found.
Nowhere to be found. Who won the Lakers is checking Lillard?
When he knocked out who did they sweep? New Orleans when they went to the playoffs that one time.
Was it Atlanta?
No, Western Conference. When they played in the Western Conference, I think it was they swept some. I think it was Portland. They didn't sweep Portland, did they?
No, they didn't sweep. They didn't sweep.
They swept some team, but they swept them. They swept them. So I mean, you could see you already know what AD is capable of in the playoffs.
Who's checking Lillard on the Lakers? And I wish you would say that light-skinned guy. What is his name? Lord, forget it. You know what I'm talking about.
I'm actually going to say waiters.
we can move on.
I'm going to remember all of this. I
think they're going to win. I honestly, my heart wants LeBron to win one more. So I'm low-key under a blanket rooting for the Lakers. But sometimes my basketball sense kind of says, that's not going to work, playboy. So I
don't see a different Kyle Kuzma, too.
But is that with LeBron with shoulder pads on or without shoulder pads? Because, you know, he's going to run you over and he's going to get 1st and 10. And then
there you go J3 again. There you go J3 again.
If I'm in the gym and you can't stop me, that's your fault, not mine.
That's your fault. And I want him to run over Patrick Beverly's little roast.
Oh man, it sounds like you got some hate in your heart.
Yeah, he got a little anger in there about that. Let's move it on.
Not bad.
So for all you hardcore basketball fans or fans just waiting for the playoffs, the 8th game play in the regular series season ends Friday. It looks like there's definitely going to be a play-in game for that 8th seed in the West. That is scheduled to happen this Saturday, 2:30 p.m. The 8th and 9th seed will play. If the 8th seed wins, it's over. If the 9th seed wins, they have to play another game on Sunday to determine who's going to be that 8th seed and face the Lakers in the first round. So get ready for some good football. And J3, you had a nice little segue talking about shoulder pads. Let's talk about our boy Darius Guice.
What an idiot! What an idiot! That's a damn shame. You work so hard to get to the ultimate position that you want to play, and then you just throw it out the window. It's just ridiculous.
Johnny, I know you did some research on this, and I liked your opening. Can you give me your opening that you had on your for Darius Guice? That said it all. I loved your opening.
The device I'm currently streaming off of right now was the one I had all of my information on since I had to switch from my iPad.
I probably won't do it any justice, but let me read it. We bid you adieu to the 2nd round draft pick we barely knew. Before we break down why this young man has been quietly released prior to the season, let us discuss his sports career thus far. And he goes into some nice background about Darius's LSU days leading up to the draft, and then what's happened since he's been with the Washington football team. But we got to get down to the reason.
I did that too. I'm sorry.
Okay, what's the reason?
Yeah. The reason I did that is because, well, we don't have much to go off from the Washington football team.
No, we couldn't last
season. Right. Last season, you played a handful of games. You was out your entire first year due to injury. So there's not much to talk about. So the second year, you finally get to play a little bit. You end up getting injured. And before this season starts, you're kicked off the team. Rather quietly, though. Rather quietly, though.
I mean, Washington had nothing to lose. They were stacked at running back anyway.
Yep.
But they couldn't keep him. Let's talk about the reasons why he had to turn himself in today. I mean, the allegations that he's facing, based on what the Washington football team is dealing with now from that Washington Post story. Let's not forget that about how they were treating women. And this man is being charged with complaints for not only domestic abuse, he supposedly choked out his girlfriend till she was unconscious
Conscious,
Mm,
yes.
mm.
Yeah.
and
Strangulation.
thought he may have killed her.
That's
Right.
crazy. But
Hell,
what's even crazier is this isn't like the first time that they've had someone on the squad who was accused of domestic violence.
is he good friends with Ray Rice?
Ooh.
Do y'all
Hey,
know?
hey, hey,
Ooh.
hey. Wow,
But
that's tough.
Ruben Foster,
That's tough.
they
That's
have
tough,
someone on the
man.
squad
That's a low blow,
by the name of
J3.
Ruben
I'm
Foster.
just asking a question.
But I think that is a great question due to the way they handled it. Of course, they had a lot of foolishness going on, of course, with the big news article that just came out. But watching how the Ray Rice situation kind of exploded to a degree back in Baltimore's face when the video finally hit social media, I think this time Washington being able to see that up close would say, you know what? We need to jump out and get completely ahead of this and
Mm-hmm,
drop him right now. And
mm-hmm.
because he hasn't done a lot for us anyway, it doesn't hurt us much. Other than that small, he didn't have the biggest contract. You know, they reduced the rookie contracts, so it was nothing to actually get rid of him. So Washington actually probably showed the any league, any team how to properly handle a situation like this. He deserves to be let go for a situation like this and do it quickly. Don't show fans and people who are consistently putting their money and their faith in you that you would support such type of individuals if we don't erupt and start to say something about it. So I'm glad they put their foot down and handled the situation immediately.
Absolutely, and they learned from their mistakes because, like I said before, they caught a lot of flack by bringing on Ruben Foster, who was also accused for a slew of domestic violence issues. And that, the fact that you were quick to pick him off of waivers once San Francisco let him go for those allegations, that didn't leave, a shining, um, you know, opinion of you by a lot of people. So I think them getting at the front of this and like nipping it in the bud was definitely a good move.
Well, let's realize both of these picks, the Reuben Foster acquisition, Darius Guice, all that's the old regime. Ron Rivera is saying he told everybody we're gonna have a new show. This is a new regime. We're having a new culture here, and he put action to his words by not hesitating as soon as they found out what the charges were. And it wasn't just one incident. It wasn't just two incidents. He's got three separate incidents with charges on him for the same girl.
Hey,
And
can I tell?
he was
And he
able to get
dropped from
away from him because the young lady lives in Montgomery County and she was filing in Montgomery County, but because he lives in Virginia and the actual situations happen in Virginia, they had to transfer it to Virginia.
Hey, can I comment real quick?
Yes, sir.
So one of our listeners, who was actually on our show, Marcus said, one day these guys are going to learn. We, as much older black men, may have to step in and mentor these young men. Well, let me just say real quick that I am a man who steps in and mentors youth. What are you all doing? How
Right.
often are you
Right.
mentoring youth? Because I've been grinding for years.
Right.
What are
Right.
you all doing? There are
Right.
a lot of individuals out here who need people to step up, but everybody talk about it, but they don't do it. So let me see what you're doing, because I'm
Yeah.
gonna tell
Yeah.
you what I'm doing.
Yeah. All right. Soapbox number 2, because I put it in the comments. And a lot of y'all don't know this, but it's part of the reason why I have an MDiv degree. One of my goals is to be a chaplain or an advisor to our pro teams here in the Washington, D.C. area, because I want to take what we've been doing for the past 20 years, Joe, J3, and give it to these young men to kind of save their careers. And I'm gonna go ahead and say it. Darius Guice was one of my favorites because he gave last Christmas to our kids that needed a whole bunch of stuff. Meeting him up close and personal, I found him to be a very charming and endearing young man. Now, of course, you don't know what happens with people behind closed doors, because when you're in front of the media, you're going to put on your best face. But my feelings towards him when this news came out was kind of sadness. It was more sadness than anger, because had I known that he was still struggling with some of the things that followed him out of LSU, I would have pulled his curtail at that event that I was with him with and say, look, bro, I mean, we need to kind of talk a little bit after this is over, because I kind of want to share some things with you that kind of help you, go in the right direction. And he could have took it or left it. But my point is that, a lot of times these teams know the struggles of these young men. I mean, Johnny, you did a great job with your background, because he had some issues with the Philadelphia Eagles before he was even drafted, or some things that came out about his character. So the Skins had to know these things transpired because it was public knowledge. But the thing is, what are you actually doing with star players that you bring in to mentor them to make sure that they steer clear of it? Now, we know the Washington team's history because Monte Nicholson. I mean, the list goes on of players that you had to get out of here. Reuben Foster, because they've had issues in the past and they didn't show any remorse or any change of those issues. So kudos to Ron Rivera. He's moving on from these types of players because I think that's needed. But on the back end, fellas, and all you out there, just like J3 said, what are we actually doing to make sure these young men are curbed from going down these particular streets, especially when it has to do with hurting women?
And we had a question from one of our. I'm sorry, go ahead, Johnny.
And I think a lot of these kids, especially from certain backgrounds, they need a therapist there in the off season as well as during the season. A lot of these guys don't know how to handle anger. They condition themselves to be reactionary athletes. And the first thing they go to do in the off season when they can't hit someone like they're used to doing in practice, you end up getting to physical altercations with your loved ones, going out to night spots, getting into incidents. This one just happened to reach the masses. But quite often, this happens a lot. You have athletes fighting in clubs, this, that, and the third. They tear the club up. They need somebody shooting all types of stuff, Plaxico Burrs, even the Aaron Hernandez thing. There's some things that could have been done along the way to entertain these young men's mind and take them to another level. You just can't keep throwing 20, 30 million at these children and expect them to react properly, especially when the background that they're dealing with is shattered. The father wasn't there. Mom may have been on drugs. You left him in an environment where his only role model was rap music and the biggest hustler in the neighborhood. And he's fighting, he's scrapping, then he finally makes some money. All that anger is still there. And he's going to take it out on whatever environment he is in. So I think we owe these young men, at least these organizations that sign them on for millions of dollars, they owe them another step. Because if you give a ticking time bomb a reason to blow up, eventually it will.
I agree with you. And teams have to do a better job. But a lot of teams have resources available to help players with that. They can't make the players access the resources that are available.
That's true.
Which is a shame. We had one of our listeners.
So let's talk about what prevents that, Big Reg. I mean, what prevents that? If it's not put in the contracts, then you got to blame the Players Association. Somebody has to take accountability for why you can't force players that are making millions of dollars and playing for multi-million-dollar and billion-dollar franchises that you can't say, this is what I need you to do. I need you to fly right and stay straight, or not only are we not going to pay you, but we're going to cut you and we're going to move on. But we know that there are all these legal ramifications and things that go on. But that's why when you're sitting at the table, the two sides, it needs to be ironed out where this type of stuff won't be tolerated. And we'll stop having these incidents and kids looking at this stuff thinking that that's okay to act that way because I still make millions of dollars at the end of the day. And one more thing, let's be real. Just like Kareem Hunt and some of these other brothers, if you still got giftedness in the tank, you're going to get picked up by somebody else and life will just go on.
You got to treat each person differently. I have two nephews the same age. One I can get $5 and trust him with. One I can get $5 and I'll never see it again. I don't know where he is, where he goes. It's life.
I hear you. Without getting too deep, though, to your point, Professor J, again, we have to look deeper at the situation. the majority of the football players are African American males. And if we really want to get to deep rooted, mental health and seeking mental health services in our community are issue throughout our community. And now you're going to tell a man who's got more money than anybody could ever dream of. He's now head of his family because he's making the money and everybody's counting on him. And you're going to have this 20, 21, 22-year-old go talk to a mental health provider?
Absolutely. If he wants to keep that livelihood he has, absolutely.
You have to make it hard. Yeah, you have to
Absolutely.
put some parameters and stipulations in place to enforce like that does comply with what is with the decorum of what is appropriate. Like Professor Jay said, you have to make this is no joke. This is serious, and we're not going to give you no slap on the wrist. We're actually going to enforce some things to make sure that doesn't ever happen.
Don't forget, everything's collectively bargained when you're talking about how you can punish people and what things you can punish for. So now you've got to get the Players Association on board,
right,
with these harsher penalties, and that's not going to happen.
I want to throw this into the mix. Just like with Aaron Hernandez's case and a lot of these individuals who exhibit rage and violence, they've been doing it for a while. The colleges don't cut them; they keep them because it's about the money. The high schools don't kick them out if they get accepted to a private school. No, because you're bringing in the money. We selling all the hot dogs and half smokes. Concessions is out the gym, and we're getting ready to send you to LSU. They keep feeding into it. So you got adults that feeding into it, overlooking it because you're going to bring me a championship. So they let these things pass. So honestly, it's a lot of people that probably seen this coming from Darius a mile away, but they never did anything about it. It's a lot of blame that could go around to Darius as well, but I think this major point shouldn't be overlooked because the people we're also telling to provide them therapy also would look away if they knew it could be the kid wouldn't get into trouble. You got a lot
because
of
they don't want to get kicked off the gravy train.
Exactly.
All right, so I wish Darius Guice good luck. Hopefully he can get himself together, get some help with his anger management and deal with whatever he has to deal with, because I still think he can have some kind of career if he gets himself together. Let's talk some NHL hockey, fellas. For you puckheads out there with me, the NHL double bubble has been a success since they've been in Canada. Except for the initial screenings, they've had no positive results. They got through their play-in scenarios. They brought 24 teams up to 2 locations in Canada. The top 8 seeds, 4 in each conference, just played a round robin to get final seedings. And then the last 16 seeds had to play each other in a best-of-5 series. And that ended us with playoff hockey that's starting today. The first playoff game was this afternoon at 3:00. The Capitals start tomorrow. You're going to have 3 to 4 NHL playoff games every day for the next 2.5, 3 weeks. Starting with the Philadelphia Flyers playing the Montreal Canadiens after beating the Pittsburgh Penguins in their play-in game. Sorry about that, Ed, but your boys had to go, and I'm glad to see them Penguins out of there. Hey. Tampa Bay Lightning plays the Columbus Blue Jackets. The Washington Capitals play the New York Islanders, which is going to be a great series. I mean, you got the old coach that won the championship.
Yeah, Barry.
It is coming back, Trotz, to bring the Islanders to try to beat the Capitals. So that's a great matchup.
I like Barry. I'm conflicted.
And the last in the Eastern Conference is the Boston Bruins against the Carolina Hurricanes. And then on the Western Conference, what I'm looking to see is the Vegas Golden Knights. Year 3 of the Vegas Golden Knights. Can they win it all as the number 1 seed in the Western Conference? You've got the Colorado Avalanche facing the Arizona Coyotes, the Dallas Stars facing the Calgary Flames, and the St. Louis Blues, the defending national champions, facing the Vancouver Canucks. So who you guys like coming out the NHL, making it to the Stanley Cup Finals?
Caps. Rock the red all the way.
I was going to say the same thing. Caps.
I'd never go against the Caps.
Rocking the red. Let's go.
Mm-hmm. Let's get another one, Ovi.
Okay, so you think the Caps are going to be able to run it in the East? I'm actually looking forward to seeing if the Vegas Golden Knights. Remember, they played the Capitals in the finals their first year in existence. This is year 3, and they're the number 1 seed in the West. Can they come out the West and finally win one?
Time will tell.
So for you puckheads like me, enjoy the NHL. Again, you're going to have 3 to 4 games a day for the next 2.5 weeks as these 7-game series get played out, and it should be fun. It should be fun. All right, fellas, it's time for things that caught our eye. We're going to do it a little different this week. I'm going to let you guys go first. So, was there anything that caught your eye this week, sports-wise, that we didn't cover tonight?
Oh, absolutely. Up until they played the Heat, I really liked the way that T.J. Warren was playing. He was playing lights out, like 30+ a game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, lit my Lakers up. So, like, respect to him. But, you know, when he ran up to Jimmy Butler and all that guy.
Did you hear what Jimmy Butler, that dude, man. Jimmy Butler, he had no reason to guard him. If he was the coach, he would never put him on there. He was going to crush him. Yeah, until he had to see Mr. Butler, he was putting up big numbers. So I agree with you.
Yeah,
I agree with you. J3, anything catch your eye?
Yeah, just so if y'all haven't heard, the Mike Tyson Roy Jones fight has been postponed for another month because they're trying to get some more revenue. So just stay tuned on that.
Let's hope that gets canceled because nobody wants to see 2 50-year-olds out there on a money grab trying to fight. Let's stop it. Stop.
Well, let me just say, Tyson looked good against that shark that he was up against.
Tyson looked kind of whipped now. I don't know. I would like to see him fight Roy.
He down under type, playing with them sharks down there. Hey, his confidence is way up there.
Y'all are killing me. Professor, what you got for me?
Yeah, I got to give love to Colin Morikawa for winning the PGA Championship over the weekend. Becoming another young man since Tiger Woods to do feat. So I really think we need to give him love, give him a shout out, especially with the feat that he had to go through and the people that he had to beat out in order to do it. So kudos to him for his champion.
Good job.
Yeah, I want to expand on that. 23 years old.
Right.
He's only been on the tour for a little over a year.
Right.
This is his 3rd win in a little over a year. First major. On a back 9 at a major, going into 14, there were 7 people tied for the lead. And most of them were big names up there.
Exactly.
He hit a bad shot, pitch to 14, and came up about 30 yards short. Chipped it in from outside, made a birdie, and then the shot hit on 16. a drivable par 4 where that man knocked it into like within 8 feet.
Yeah.
Or eagle on 16, which gave him a 2-stroke lead. I was like, man, he
Right.
doing some things.
Yeah, he became my hero right there.
Yeah, he was a bad boy. And then he clowned Steph Curry after it. Steph Curry slid up there, asked him a question. He's like, yeah, my caddy likes Golden State, so he saw you out there. I don't like him too much. So you gotta love him. Gotta love him. Johnny, anything catch your eye during the week, sports wise?
I want to co-sign J3. I can't wait to see Mike and Roy knock the depends off of each other. It's gonna be 401. It's gonna be 401k money everywhere. I can't wait.
I want to see it.
It's gonna be entertainment. That's gonna be entertainment for sure.
Look, the post-game interviews are gonna be in ice baths. Them dudes are not gonna make it. I can't wait. 1 month, not a problem. I can't wait.
Oh, you killing me, Johnny. You killing me. I like to shout out to MLS. They complete their MLS is Back tournament tonight with their bubble. That's actually in the same place that the NBA bubble is, Orlando. In the wide world of sports, Orlando City is playing Portland Timbers for the championship tonight. Next week we'll probably get into Major League Baseball. Man, they still got problems. St. Louis Cardinals haven't played a game since July 29th.
Yeah.
The Cleveland Indians had to send 2 of their players home. One of them a pitcher, because when they was in Chicago to play a 2-game series, they decided to go out. One of them didn't come in till 3 a.m. The other one didn't come back at all.
Wow.
He just met them at the at the stadium to play the game.
Man,
wow.
And don't forget Houston's comeuppance tour. It continues with them that whole debacle with Oakland.
Yeah. Everybody throwing balls at him and fighting. That's crazy.
That's right.
For the ladies, tennis fans, WTA is back this week. The Top Seed Open, which is being held in Lexington, Kentucky. The Williams sisters are both playing singles. They both got wins today. Coco Gauff is also in the tournament. She's playing singles and doubles. She got her first win in singles. So WTA is back, and they're gearing up to hopefully try to play the U.S. Open in Flushing Meadows in New York at the end of this month. And for you fight fans, PBC came back this past weekend, and our man Dana White, we continue to give him props. Dana's got UFC 252 this Saturday with the big match. Stipe Miocic against Daniel Cormier 3 for the heavyweight title, and the co-main event, Sugar Sean O'Malley, who is a monster. Who is a monster. Y'all fellas got to check out Sugar Sean O'Malley. He be knocking dudes straight out. He's a small, skinny guy knocking them out. He takes on Marlon Vera this Saturday night. All right, fellas, it's time for us to get out of here for our final post. Let's start with Professor J. What you got for me?
All right, so Carolyn is really trying to end the NFL season, y'all. But I'll say this. If the NFL, the only thing that they do was that great commercial about voting that I saw today, I'm behind them 100%. Please get out and register to vote. Do not take this lightly. The statistics said that in 2016, only roughly 60% of Americans that were eligible to vote voted. If you want change out there, you got to hit the polls, and it starts with you registering to vote. So please, I'm begging you, exercise your right to vote.
Excellent point. Excellent point. Johnny, what you got for me?
Stay safe, protect yourself. Hope you all enjoyed and love you all very much.
All right. J3.
You know, again, we've been in this COVID-19 for the last 6 months, and I shouldn't have to continue saying this, but please stay safe. Wear your mask. Wear your gloves. Wash your hands. Come back home. Stay safe. wash your hands, wear your gloves, come back home. That's it.
I feel you. I feel you. I feel you. Sense, what you got for us, partner?
Um, Not only should we protect ourselves, but let's also protect one another. Look out for one another. This recent tragedy that happened in Southeast over the weekend, with the 20 people being shot, that shouldn't be happening. Like we've got to do better as far as looking out for one another and not killing our own. So much love to everybody, and let's just stay safe and take care of one another.
Yes, sir.
I
Yes, sir.
feel you. I feel you. I like to say Johnny is killing me on the real side. I like to add on to what Professor Jay mentioned. Voting. Voting is extremely, extremely important. For all y'all who out there who may think that your voice doesn't count or your vote won't count, it won't be heard, all you're doing is adding to the problem.
Right.
Yep.
Register to vote, show
Agreed.
up to vote, not only vote for the big national elections, which this year might be our most important presidential election of our lifetime, but make sure you read, educate yourself about who's on the ballot in your local areas. The things that are going to affect you day in and day out every day are who you put in the office in your local communities, your counties, your cities, your states, your judges. These are people that are going to affect your everyday life. So please, please, please vote. And if you do decide to vote by absentee voting or mail-in voting, I would just like to suggest something to you. I've got brothers and sisters that I call brothers and sisters from another mother of mine who work in the postal service, and I know they're going to do everything in their power to get what needs to be to where it needs to be to the best of their ability. But if you're getting the mail-in or absentee ballot, take the next step. Find out where your local district polling place is or where the drop box that they have, and take it to them and just drop it off. Don't put it in the mail.
Amen.
If you're
Yeah.
concerned about the postal service, let's eliminate that option. You can get in line, do the drop box, you'll be in and out in minutes, and let's get out, let's vote, and let's make change permanent so that we can help everybody be better.
Roger that.
All right,
Mhm.
folks. I'd like to thank Sense for coming out again. We always appreciate you, partner.
Yes,
Being a
sir.
contributing member to the show, we always appreciate you jumping in.
Thank
We
you.
also like to thank all of our listeners for tuning in. We appreciate you. We love you. Please continue to reach out. Any suggestions on how we can make the show better, greater, bigger, we greatly appreciate your opinions. Please continue to send this to us either through Facebook, through YouTube, through Instagram. We really, really, really appreciate all the opinions that we can get. Please tune in next Tuesday, 7 p.m. We're going to be here. We live every week, 7 p.m. Tuesday nights. You can also check previous shows. You can look at us on Facebook. Please check out our YouTube channel, Positions on Sports Talk Show. Like both. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. We greatly appreciate it. If you enjoyed the show, please tell your friends and family members and share it with your social media network. We greatly, greatly appreciate it. Have a safe week. Be safe. Look out for each other. Peace. This has been the Positional Sports Talk Show. Love you.
God bless you.
See ya.